Hi everyone, I've decided to make my first So Just video on the Women's March. Yesterday's Women's March was a historic event that brought together millions of women all throughout the country, along with allies. And it was so invigorating for me to be out there marching with folks in solidarity, and then to come home and see everyone's posts who was out there as well. And, it was great. And then I saw one post where one person didn't really quite understand the whole point of the Women's March. In their perspective, they thought women already had equal rights, so what was the point of this march? And while I can't speak to everyone's reasons for why they marched, what I can do is provide a little bit of context as to why women would organize in the first place. So to understand why millions of women would march out there, let's take a look at some of the facts of our present day situation. 51% of the US population are women. And women are also graduating at larger rates than men from college. Yet despite this, they're only making 78 cents to every dollar that a man makes. That's on a personal level. When we're talking about positions of power, we have to look at politics. And women right now only comprise 20% of congressional seats. Despite being 50% of the US population. Now, these numbers get even more drastic when we're talking about Fortune 500 companies, in which only 4.4% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. So what is it that leads to such a great disparity in these positions of power and in pay? Well, a lot of it has to do with the way that we're socialized. It has to do with microaggressions and double standards. So microaggressions are little things that lead people to feel inferior or less than others for whatever reason. A common example that I think we can all think of easily is, oh, you throw like a girl. Or you hit like a girl. And when you say something of that nature in a negative way, it's communicating that a girl is inferior to a guy or less effective in whatever the situation may be. Now, when we're talking about double standards, it's interesting to note that in a 2002 study, women who had quote, quote, masculine traits were actually seen as violating the feminine role of niceness and were penalized for it. So when you're coupling this ideology that women are somehow inferior to men and then penalizing women when they demonstrate manly qualities, it's no surprise that women are kind of in a bind and they can't move ahead in ways that men can. Exhibit A, Congress. Exhibit B, Fortune 500 companies. So part of the reason why women were marching out there yesterday, and this is going to be a huge overgeneralization because I can't possibly tell you all the reasons why millions of people were marching, but I will say this, it had to do with wanting equal pay for equal work. It's ridiculous that we're half the population and we get paid less than men. That doesn't make any sense. It has to do with the fact that we want to protect our rights over our bodies. Legislation has been talked about in ways that might take away some of those rights, and that is an audacity because it's rules and politics and legislation being made by a majority of people who don't have to personally experience that. And then finally, a huge part of it is just the simple fact that we want to be seen as worthy just like men are. It's really simple because we are. And I know that oftentimes when we hear something ignorant, one of the first things that comes to mind is, oh my gosh, they should really just go educate themselves. And I personally can't say that I have found a guide that can help someone to not be a racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. You name it. So that's part of what led me to create these videos. And I'm hoping that through these videos, we can help educate people, raise awareness, start conversations, and maybe change some minds, change some perspectives, change some biases. So if you found this video to be helpful, do me a favor, do society a favor, like it and share it. Thank you, and keep up the good fight.